Hi there, it's me, Lavender Gray, here with a tarot reading. So today we are going to be using the Goblin Market Tarot by John Matthews and Charles Newington, and we are going to dive deep into this tarot deck today. So we are going to be using a market stall type spread today, as if you're going to the Goblin Market. And we'll lay some cards here. We're a little zoomed out today so that we have room for these gigantic cards. But the choice of these two cards is something a little bit different. So this is based on a poem that I will be reading at the end. It is based off a poem about two sisters. One of them goes into fairy and consorts with the goblins at their market, and the other one stays behind, and that's basically the conceit of the poem. So we have here two cards. One is the sister that went into fairy, and the other is one who stayed behind. I don't know which one is which, because I wanted you guys to be able to choose based on intuition. I'll be doing quite a few different ways to choose here. So the first are these cards face down with the charms. The first one here is the key, and the second choice here is this meditation lotus charm. Hopefully you can see that. I can't see the screen from where I'm sitting, but you can go ahead and choose based on that. If you don't know exactly which one to choose from, I can flip a coin for you. So we'll do heads is the key, and tails is the lotus. Ooh, heads. All right, so if you wanted some randomization before you find out which card is which, go ahead and go with number 1. And now I shall flip them over. The one who went into fairy with the key, and the one who stayed behind with the lotus. Now, if you still don't know which one to choose, I'll flip the coin again. Heads is the one who went into fairy with key, and tails is the one who stayed behind with the lotus. So let's see. Tails, so go ahead and choose number 2. Hopefully that gave you enough options to choose which one feels best for you. You can be drawn to both of these, or neither, in which case there might be a different video for you. But without further ado, let's get started. Hi there. If you chose the key and the one who went into fairy, then this reading is for you. We are going to, where do I want this? How about in the corner there? Very good. We are going to get right into it. I don't have a set question or message we're looking for. We're just sort of looking at messages from the fairies, from the goblins. So let's get into it. Let's get into it, yeah. All right, sorry. Let's see. Spirit, what messages do the goblins have for us today? For our best and truest good, what messages do we have today? Let's see. Stall number 1 is the 10 of platters. Oh, very, very good news. This is about, it's like a banquet. You can see all these platters. This is enjoying your riches. This is a happy home life, being well fed. A feast or a party is indicated here as well. Number 2, we have the Lady of Cups in reverse. So let's see. We have pears and we have strawberries. This deck is just so cute with the little fruits on it. I hope that you will listen to me read the poem at the end of this video, because it is, you might gain more from this reading if you have an understanding of the poem it was based off of, and the sort of vibe and the descriptions of the fruits and things. So stick around for that. At the end of the readings, I will be reading the poem. So, the Lady of Cups in reverse. This is someone who isn't in control of their emotions very well. They might have a hard time communicating what it is they need. They might have a victim complex as well. I'm hearing narcissism. So this is someone who is sort of difficult to be around. If this is you, that's okay. Take some time for yourself to get some therapy, maybe seek some professional help, because you don't need to be playing life on hard mode. Not everything has to hurt. Like, you're not supposed to just be suffering, um, which I feel is a message that maybe some people need to hear. Things don't always have to be so hard. You can get help for things, especially if it's emotional imbalances. Um, like, you don't have to be doing it all on your own. And if you work on fixing your foundation, then you'll be able to better deal with things as they happen to you. All right. The Fairy Trickster, number 15, the Devil. Sorry if you can hear me. Stand up so I can see where the cards are. The Fairy Trickster, the Devil. So, yes, this is not a very positive card to get, pile one, I will admit. This is about being trapped, about giving in to your vices and your indulgences in a way that isn't healthy. This is about self-destruction as well. The thing with the trickster, though, is that he usually shows us the truth behind our mask, usually in a way that causes us to feel very humble. There's this humiliation tactic, I guess, of like, how do I say this? Of like, oh, you think you're so proud, let me knock you down a peg or something like that. So it's not energy that is very useful. It's much more about like when we get too into our own heads, and get maybe a little bit too big for our britches, I want to say. This card is a message of telling yourself to slow down, of oh boy, the Fairy Trickster. So there's a card in the Fairies Oracle by Brian Froud, that is called Oh That Gnome, and it's the gnome that pushes your buttons, that like sends you over the edge, especially when it comes to self-destruction or self-sabotage. So I would be very aware of how you're treating yourself, how you're talking to yourself, and how you're talking to others. Are you using humor to wound rather than to heal? With the Fool archetype here. The Knight of Cups. We have the Lady and the Knight of Cups here. So you are not alone. You are supported in a way. And this Knight of Cups might be you, actually, or maybe someone close to you, perhaps a romantic counterpart. We have this Knight of Cups kneeling, presenting a cup to these little goblins here, these little fairies. So there is no knight in shining armor that's going to save you, pile one, but there might be friends that make things a little bit easier for you. Like I said, you don't have to suffer. Like, life isn't supposed to be mostly painful. Life is supposed to be mostly good. And you deserve life to be mostly good. Yes, shit happens, and our vices get the better of us sometimes, but no one deserves to be in pain for most of their life, right? The Four of Cups. Okay. So maybe you didn't believe me when I said that. That's okay. Oh, also, are we. Let's see. Is that straight? Hmm. Alright. Sorry if the camera is a little bit wonky. But the Four of Cups is about dissatisfaction, actually. It's about missing opportunities that are handed to you on a silver platter. Let's see, we've got these four guys here. Hmm. So there is also a need to protect yourself, pile number one, using some black tourmaline or some obsidian or tiger's eye even, or hawk's eye, to help keep yourself energetically grounded and protected. If you are someone who is very open to spirits and things, cleansing and protecting yourself is going to be really necessary here. As I say that, I realize I don't have my crystals nearby, so I'm gonna go grab them. Okay, I'm back, and I brought my rocks. Let's see, should I put them, let's put one here, and I'm gonna do that as well, and the rose quartz, yeah, that's not too bad. Oh, and I forgot I have this amethyst, let's put that here as well. So just, these are like the only crystals that I have. I do love crystals a lot, but I hate spending money on them, so. Okay, so now that we have our crystals set out in front of us that I can touch and play with and draw energy from, we are going to, this is a little bit late, but I'm going to set the intention of receiving messages for your best and truest good. Anything else, thanks but no thanks, and let's get back into it. The Lady of Platters. So we have two ladies today. We have the Lady of Cups of water and Platters earth. So the earth signs are Taurus, Capricorn, and Virgo. The water signs are Scorpio, Pisces, and Cancer. I don't have any water signs in my chart, so I don't know a lot about them. It's really strange. But, okay. It's important to be able to laugh at yourself, but not mock yourself and not mock others, because if you judge yourself, you're going to be judging others as well. And the fairy realm. Okay, so it is not, okay, alright. So if you're coming to this video wondering if you are meant to work with the fairies, if you're meant to work with the fae, yes, you are. You just have to make sure you're protecting yourself, because there are lots of tricksters and nasty energy that might want to fuck with you. And so making sure that you are cleaning your house, as well as energetically cleansing your house, so that you're coming from a safe space, and setting up your space with crystals or with charms or with ribbons or whatever it is that helps ground you, that helps make you feel loved and protected and safe, as well as spiritually enlightened. I recommend selenite and black tourmaline. Selenite is one of my favorite crystals. I don't know if you can hear that, but it's just this angelic tapping sound. You know, I have roots in ASMR. But anyway, I feel very like cozy comfortable with you guys. Like if you're someone who has been meaning to work with the Fae and like keep making mistakes, I'm right there with you. I make mistakes all the time and I have to apologize a lot. But that is okay. Let's see. So, yes. I think that is the message for you, pile number one. It seems a little bit short, but hopefully what I said all makes sense. So I will see you in the poem reading. Bye. Hi there, pile two. If you chose the one who stayed behind, as well as this lotus charm, then this reading is for you. As you can see, I got some of my crystals out because the first pile was talking about cleansing and grounding and making sure your safe is set up, or your space is set up in a safe way energetically. So I was like, oh, I don't have my crystals around. Let me go grab some. So we've got some selenite, some black tourmaline, some amethyst, moonstone, and rose quartz. These are some of my favorite kinds of crystals. They're like the only crystals in my collection right now, so you've probably seen them a lot in videos previous. But anyway, hello, the one who stayed behind. Welcome to your reading. We are going to set up a little goblin stall and get some messages for you. So for pile number two's best and truest good, what messages do we have? What messages do we have for pile number two? I don't have like a specific question or anything in mind. We're just getting some general messages to see what the vibe is from the fairies. Okay. The 10 of platters, are you kidding me? This came out in the exact same position in pile number one. The 10 of platters. Let me continue to shuffle just in case. Want that element of randomization. okay? Or it doesn't shuffle at all, no worries. But the Ten of Platters is a feast, is a banquet, is a celebration, happy home life, reaping the fruits of your labors, of seeing return on investment. All right, number 2 is the Ace of Cups in reverse. So I don't think this is a time of romance for you. I think this might be a time of romancing yourself, taking yourself out on dates, and really getting to know yourself and your emotional body and how you handle yourself when you're in an emotional state, and how what you want out of romance you might be finding out now. Um, instead of connecting with someone else and building romance that way, I think this Ace of Cups is saying that you're reconnecting with yourself, perhaps your inner child even, and like I said, taking yourself out on dates, going out with yourself, romancing yourself, spending some quality bedroom time with yourself as well. Healthy adults do that. I don't know how much I can say on YouTube, but if you healthy adults spend quality time with themselves, if you know what I mean. The Ten of Wands, so 2 tens here. Let me just check and see what it all looks like. Okay, looks good. We've got blackberries, strawberries, and pears as through the different fruits. Oh, and I think I said this in the intro, but I'll say it again. I will be reading the poem that this deck is based off of at the end, so that you can kind of get a vibe of what this deck came from and understand like what the fruits all symbolize. It's a very, I will say, very sexy poem. And the fruits are metaphors for you know what. And so I recommend sticking around to hear the poem reading. And yes, I'm like smiling. I don't know if you knew that this was going to be such a flirty reading, pile number 2, but here we are. You're a very sexy person. You might be a very flirtatious person as well. Or other people might flirt with you a lot, even if you don't realize that they're flirting with you. I think you're a very attractive person and you're like a hot commodity. Like a lot of people might be wanting to get with you. I don't know if any of these people are worth getting with. With this Ten of Wands here, talking about like burdens and like not being worth the work that is put into it. So I think the more that you romance yourself, the more attractive you're going to become, because you're going to be in love with yourself, and that is energy that everybody wants to see. The Three of Cups, ooh, threesome card, anybody? We have some lovely fairies here. But this is about joy and love and lust. This is like a May Day sort of card. You can think of a maypole. Just a very sexy reading so far. Um, Friendships are also indicated here, so you might be building some really deep friendships as well. The Lord of Platters. So if there is someone that came to mind when you saw this card, this is probably not someone you're meant to have a connection with anymore with this Lord of Platters in reverse. This is someone who might not have treated you the best or didn't treat themselves the best either. So the Lord of Platters is a king that has lost his crown, that is out of balance and doesn't know how to act anymore. So you might want to steer clear of any of this energy where it's like toxic masculinity, or an abuse of power. Any sort of abuse is obviously not cool, and we don't stand for it here on Lavender Gray Tarot. But yes, so protecting yourself and protecting your energy and really maintaining that connection to yourself and to your spirit of like, I know what I'm worth, which is what comes from romancing yourself, is a feeling of this self-worth. And anybody who's trying to take you down, you don't need to listen to and don't need to have in your life. I'll just say that. And then the Three of Wands in reverse. So we have 2 3s and 2 10s. So repeating numbers might be synchronicities for you. If you see a repeating number, you just take it as the universe giving you a little wink. That's like, yes, I see you. You're doing okay. That's what I think of correspondences as little winks from the universe, or you looking directly into the camera of the simulation that we're all in. But anyway, the summary card is this 2 of Wands. So, and then the Fairy Queen on the back of the deck. How do we look? We're a little bit crooked. That's okay. Easy fix. So, this Two of Wands in reverse is signifying a very similar thing to the Ace of Cups, this like romantic spark within yourself. Um, so, like, you are your own best friend, you are your own soulmate. Um, Not that you don't have other friendships, like we have the Three of Cups. Both friendships and romantic engagements are represented here with this Three of Cups. So, not that you don't have options and that you're alone. I think you actually have a lot of people trying to vie for your attention, and you'll have to use your discernment, maybe some crystal help as well to figure out who is meant to be in your life and who is not. It's okay to set firm boundaries. Uh, Yes, so any other messages? This Ten of Wands here. So, if you feel like you have been trying to build up um, something, if you've been like really working towards something and you're just not getting anywhere with it, or you're like hitting your head against a brick wall, it might be time to set that aside for now. Because the Ten of Wands is all about it takes too much work to maintain what it is that you've cultivated, and it's like less than the sum of its parts, basically. So if there is something that is meaning to fall away, it's okay, let it. It's okay to drop the ball on some things. Uh, there, there was a saying, I don't know if it was a tweet or something that was saying like if you're the tasks and your responsibilities are balls that you're juggling, then some are made out of plastic, some are made out of rubber, some are made out of glass, and and so dropping a rubber ball isn't really going to have as much of an effect as dropping a glass ball. And so like these might be some rubber balls that are okay to drop and they'll bounce and they'll be fine, because you want to be focusing on the glass balls and the things that really matter and keeping them up in the air, which is enjoying yourself with this 10 of platters. Anything else? I think that is the reading for you. Thank you so much for letting me read for you. I didn't do this in pile 1, but I'll do it for pile 2. If you enjoyed this reading, please leave a like, comment, or subscribe down below, and I'll see you in the poem reading right now. Okay, bye. Hi there. It is me with the poem reading. Let us get right into it. It's a bit of a longer poem. There we go. The poem that inspired the deck. Are you ready? Let's read the little intro. Goblin Market by Christina Rossetti. Let me see what I look like. We look good. We're all good. All right. Here follows the full version of Christina Rossetti's enchanting Goblin Market poem. The meaning of this is discussed in the first part of this book, and many others can be found. It is a remarkable work which acknowledges the two sides of the fairy realms, both light and shadow, but it should be remembered that it was written during the Victorian era, in which many ideas that have since vanished or been modified were present. It is also for many perhaps overly sentimental. We suggest you read it with care and allow its magic to infuse you as you work with the cards. Okay, are you ready? Here we go. Morning and evening, maids heard the goblins cry, "Come buy our orchard fruits, come buy, come buy." Apples and quinces, lemons and oranges, plump, unpecked cherries, melons and raspberries, bloom-down-cheeked peaches, swart-headed mulberries, wild free-born cranberries, crab-apples, dewberries, pineapples, blackberries, apricots, strawberries, all ripe together, in summer weather, morns that pass by, fair eves that fly, come buy, come buy. Are grapes fresh from the vine, pomegranates full and fine, dates and sharp bullaces, rare pears and green gages, damsons and bilberries, taste them and try, currants and gooseberries, bright fire-like barberries, figs to fill your mouth, citrons from the south, sweet to tongue and sound to eye, come buy, come buy. Evening by evening, among the brookside rushes, Laura bowed her head to hear, Lizzie veiled her blushes. Crouching close together, in the cooling weather, with clasping arms and cautioning lips, with tingling cheeks and fingertips, "Lie close," Laura said, picking up her golden head. "We must not look at goblin men, we must not buy their fruits. Who knows upon what soil they fed their hungry, thirsty roots?" "Come buy," called the goblins, hobbling down the glen. "Oh," cried Lizzie, "Laura, Laura, you should not peep at goblin men." Lizzie covered up her eyes, covered close lest they should look. Laura reared her glossy head and whispered like the restless brook. Look, Lizzie, down the glen tramp little men. One hauls a basket, one bears a plate, one lugs a golden dish of many pounds weight. How fair the vine must grow, whose grapes are so luscious, how warm the wind must blow through those fruit bushes. "No," said Lizzie, "no, no, no. Their offers should not charm us, their evil gifts would harm us." She thrust a dimpled finger in each ear, shut eyes, and ran. Curious Laura chose to linger, wondering at each merchant man. One had a cat's face, one whisked a tail, one tramped at a rat's pace, one crawled like a snail. One like a wombat prowled obtuse and furry, one like a rattle tumbled hurry-scurry. She heard a voice like voice of doves, cooing all together. They sounded kind and full of loves in the pleasant weather. Laura stretched her gleaming neck like a rush-embedded swan, like a lily from the beck, like a moonlit poplar branch, like a vessel at the launch when its last restraint is gone. Backwards up the mossy glen turned and trooped the goblin men, with their shrill repeated cry, "Come by, come by." When they reached where Laura was, they stood stock still upon the moss, leering at each other, brother with queer brother, signaling each other, brother with sly brother. One set his basket down, one reared his plate, one began to weave a crown of tendrils, leaves, and rough nuts brown. Men sell not such in any town. One heaved the golden weight of dish and fruit to offer her. Come buy," was still their cry. Laura stared but did not stir, longed but had no money. The whisk-tailed merchant bade her taste in tones as smooth as honey. The cat-face purred, the rat-faced spoke a word of welcome, and the snail-paced even was heard. One parrot-voiced and jolly cried pretty goblin still for pretty Polly. One whistled like a bird. But sweet-toothed Laura spoke in haste. "Good folk, I have no coin, to take were to purloin. I have no copper in my purse, I have no silver either, and all my gold is on the furze, that shakes in windy weather above the rusty heather." "You have much gold upon your head," they answered all together. "Buy from us with a golden curl." She clipped a precious golden lock, she dropped a tear more rare than pearl, then sucked their fruit globes fair or red, sweeter than honey from the rock. Stronger than man rejoicing wine, clearer than water flowed that juice, she never tasted such before. How should it cloy with length of use? She sucked and sucked and sucked the more, fruits which that unknown orchard bore, she sucked until her lips were sore, then flung the empty rinds away, but gathered up one kernel stone, and knew not was it night or day as she turned home alone. Lizzie met her at the gate, full of wise upbraidings. "Dear, you should not stay so late. Twilight is not good for maidens, should not loiter in the glen in the haunts of goblin men. Do you not remember, Jeanie, how she met them in the moonlight, took their gifts both choice and many, ate their fruits and wore their flowers, plucked from bowers where summer ripens at all hours? But ever in the noonlight she pined and pined away, sought them by night and day, found them no more, but dwindled and grew grey. Then fell with the first snow, while to this day no grass will grow where she lies low. I planted daisies there a year ago, that never blow. You should not loiter so." "Nay, hush," said Laura, "nay, hush, my sister. I ate and ate my fill, yet my mouth waters still. Tomorrow night I will buy more," and kissed her. "Have done with sorrow. I'll bring you plums tomorrow, fresh on their mother twigs, cherries worth getting. You cannot think what figs my teeth have met in, when melons icy cold piled on a dish of gold, too huge for me to hold, what peaches with a velvet nap, pellucid grapes without one seed. Odorous indeed must be the mead whereon they grow, and pure the wave they drink, with lilies at the brink, and sugar-sweet their sap." Golden head by golden head, like two pigeons in one nest, folded in each other's wings, they lay down in their curtained bed. Like two blossoms on one stem, like two flakes of new-fallen snow, like two wands of ivory tipped with gold for awful kings, moon and stars gazed in at them. Wind sang to them lullaby, lumbering owls forbore to fly, not a bat flapped to and fro round their rest, cheek to cheek and breast to breast, lapped together in one nest. Early in the morning, when the first cock crowed his warning, Neat like bees, as sweet and busy, Laura rose with Lizzie, fetched in honey, milked the cows, aired and set to rights the house, kneaded cakes of whitest wheat, cakes for dainty mouths to eat, next churned butter, whipped up cream, fed their poultry, sat and sewed, talked as modest maidens should, Lizzie with an open heart, Laura in an absent dream, one content, one sick in part, one warbling for the mere bright day's delight, one longing for the night. At length slow evening came. They went with pitchers to the reedy brook, Lizzie most placid in her look, Laura most like a leaping flame. They drew the gurgling water from its deep. Lizzie plucked purple and rich golden flags, then turning homeward said, the sunset flushes those furthest loftiest crags. Come, Laura, not another maiden lags, no wilful squirrel wags, the beasts and birds are fast asleep. But Laura loitered still among the rushes, and said the bank was steep. And said the hour was early still, the dew not fallen, the wind not chill, listening ever but not catching the customary cry, come by, with its iterated jingle of sugar-baited words, not for all her watching, once discerning even one goblin, racing, whisking, tumbling, hobbling, let alone the herds that used to tramp along the glen, in groups or single of brisk fruit merchantmen. To Lizzie urged, O Laura, come! I hear the fruit call, but I dare not look. You should not loiter longer at this brook. Come with me home. The stars rise, the moon bends her arc, each glowworm winks her spark. Let us go home before the night grows dark, for clouds may gather, though this is summer weather. Put out the lights and drench us through. Then if we lost our way, what should we do? Laura turned cold as stone to find her sister heard that cry alone, that goblin cry, come buy our fruits, come buy. Must she then buy no more such dainty fruit? Must she no more such succubous pasture find, gone deaf and blind? Her tree of life drooped from the root. She said not one word in her heart's sore ache, but peering through the dimness, not discerning, trudged home, her pitcher dripping all the way. She crept to bed and lay silent till Lizzie slept, then sat up in a passionate yearning, and gnashed her teeth for balked desire, and wept as if her heart would break. Day after day, night after night, Laura kept watch in vain, in sullen silence of exceeding pain. She never caught again the goblin cry, come buy, come buy. She never spied the goblin men hawking their fruits along the glen, but when the noon waxed bright, her hair grew thin and grey, she dwindled as the fair full moon doth turn to swift decay and burn her fire away. One day, remembering her kernel stone, she set it by a wall that faced the south, dewed it with tears, hoped for a root, watched for a waxing shoot, but there came none. It never saw the sun, it never felt the trickling moisture run, while with sunk eyes and faded mouth she dreamed of melons, as the traveller sees false waves in desert drouth, with the shade of leaf-crowned trees, and burns the thirstier in the sandful breeze. She no more swept the house, tended the fowls or cows, fetched honey, kneaded cakes of wheat, brought water from the brook, but sat down listless in the chimney nook and would not eat. Tender Lizzie could not bear to watch her sister's cankerous care, yet not to share. She night and morning caught the goblin's cry, come buy our orchard fruits, come buy, come buy. Beside the brook, along the glen, she heard the tramp of goblin men, the yoke and stir poor Laura could not hear, longed to buy fruit to comfort her, but feared to pay too dear. She thought of Jeanie in her grave, who should have been a bride, but who for joys brides hoped to have, fell sick and died, in her gay prime, in earliest winter time, with the first glazing rime, with the first snowfall of crisp winter time. Till Laura dwindling seemed knocking at death's door, then Lizzie weighed no more, better and worse, but put a silver penny in her purse, kissed Laura, crossed the heath with clumps of firs at twilight, halted by the brook, and for the first time in her life began to listen and look. Laughed every goblin when they spied her peeping, came towards her hobbling, flying, running, leaping, puffing and blowing, chuckling, clapping, crowing, clucking and gobbling, mopping and mowing, full of airs and graces, pulling wry faces, demure grimaces, cat-like and rat-like, rattle and wombat-like, snail-paced in a hurry, parrot-voiced and whistler, helter-skelter, hurry-scurry, chattering like magpies, fluttering like pigeons, gliding like fishes, hugged her and kissed her, squeezed and caressed her, stretched up their dishes, panniers and plates. Look at our apples, russet and dun, bob at our cherries, bite at our peaches, citrons and dates, grapes for the asking, pears red with basking out in the sun, plums on their twigs, pluck them and suck them, pomegranates, figs. Good folk, said Lizzie, mindful of Jeanie, give me much and many, held out her apron, tossed them her penny. Nay, take a seat with us, honour and eat with us, they answered grinning. Our feast is but beginning, night yet is early, warm and dew pearly, wakeful and starry, such fruits as these no man can carry. Half their bloom would fly, half their dew would dry, half their flavour would pass by. Sit down and feast with us, be welcome guest with us, cheer you and rest with us. Thank you, said Lizzie, but one waits at home alone for me, so without further parleying, if you will not sell me any of your fruits, though much and many, give me back my silver penny I tossed you for a fee. They began to scratch their pates, no longer wagging, purring, but visibly demurring, grunting and snarling. One called her proud, cross-grained, uncivil. Their tones waxed loud, their looks were evil. Lashing their tails, they trod and hustled her, elbowed and jostled her, clawed with their nails, barking, mewing, hissing, mocking, tore her gown and soiled her stocking, twitched her hair out by the roots, stamped upon her tender feet, held her hands and squeezed their fruits against her mouth to make her eat. White and golden Lizzie stood, like a lily in a flood, like a rock of blue-veined stone lashed by tides obstreperously, like a beacon left alone in a hoary roaring sea, sending up a golden fire, like a fruit-crowned orange tree, white with blossoms honey-sweet, sore beset by wasp and bee, like a royal virgin town topped with gilded dome and spire, close beleaguered by a fleet mad to tug her standard down. One may lead a horse to water, 20 cannot make him drink. Though the goblins cuffed and caught her, coaxed and fought her, bullied and besought her, scratched her, pinched her black as ink, kicked and knocked her, mauled and mocked her, Lizzie uttered not a word, would not open lip from lip, lest they should cram a mouthful in, but laughed in heart to feel the drip of juice that syruped all her face, and lodged in dimples of her chin, and streaked her neck which quaked like curd. At last the evil people, worn out by her resistance, flung back her penny, kicked their fruit along whichever road they took, not leaving root or stone or shoot. Some writhed into the ground, some dived into the brook with ring and ripple, some scudded on the gale without a sound, some vanished in the distance. In a smart ache tingle, Lizzie went her way, knew not was it night or day, sprang up the bank, tore through the furze, threaded copse and dingle, and heard her penny jingle, bouncing in her purse. Its bounce was music to her ear. She ran and ran, as if she feared some goblin man dogged her with jibe or curse, or something worse, but not one goblin scurried after, nor was she pricked by fear. The kind heart made her windy pace, that urged her home quite out of breath with haste and inward laughter. She cried, Laura, up the garden, did you miss me? Come and kiss me. Never mind my bruises. Hug me, kiss me, suck my juices, squeezed from goblin fruits for you, goblin pulp and goblin dew. Eat me, drink me, love me, Laura, make much of me. For your sake I've braved the glen and had to do with goblin merchantmen. Laura started from her chair, flung her arms up in the air, clutched her hair. Lizzie, Lizzie, have you tasted for my sake the forbidden fruit? Must your light like mine be hidden, your young life like mine be wasted, undone in mine undoing, and ruined in my ruin, thirsty, cankered, goblin-ridden? She clung about her sister, kissed and kissed and kissed her. Tears once again refreshed her shrunken eyes, dropping like rain after long, sultry drought. Shaking with anguish, fear, and pain, she kissed and kissed her with a hungry mouth. Her lips began to scorch, that juice was wormwood to her tongue. She loathed the feast, writhing as one possessed, she leaped and sung, rent all her robe, and wrung her hands in lamentable haste, and beat her breast. Her locks streamed like the torch borne by a racer at full speed, or like the mane of horses in their flight, or like an eagle when she stems the light straight toward the sun, or like a caged thing freed, or like a flying flag when armies run. Swift fire spread through her veins, knocked at her heart, met the fire smoldering there and overbore its lesser flame. She gorged on bitterness without a name. Ah, fool, to choose such part of soul-consuming care! Sense failed in the mortal strife, like the watchtower of a town, which an earthquake shatters down, like a lightning-stricken mast, like a wind-uprooted tree spun about, like a foam-topped waterspout cast down headlong in the sea, she fell at last. Pleasure past and anguish past, is it death or is it life? Life out of death, that night long Lizzie watched by her, counted her pulses' flagging stir, felt for her breath, held water to her lips, and cooled her face with tears and fanning leaves. But when the first birds chirped about their eaves, and early reapers plodded to the place of golden sheaves, and dew-wet grass bowed in the morning winds so brisk to pass, and new buds with new day opened of cup-like lilies on the stream, Laura awoke as from a dream, laughed in the innocent old way, hugged Lizzie, but not twice or thrice. Her gleaming locks showed not one thread of gray. Her breath was sweet as May, and light danced in her eyes. Days, weeks, months, years afterwards, when both were wives, with children of their own, their mother hearts beset with fears, their lives bound up in tender lives, Laura would call the little ones and tell them of her early prime, those pleasant days long gone of not returning time, would talk about the haunted glen, the wicked, quaint fruit merchantmen, their fruits like honey to the throat, but poison in the blood, men sell not such in any town, would tell them how her sister stood in deadly peril to do her good and win the fiery antidote, then joining hands to little hands would bid them cling together, for there is no friend like a sister in calm or stormy weather, to cheer one on the tedious way, to fetch one if one goes astray, to lift if one totters down, to strengthen whilst one stands. And that is the poem. Hopefully you enjoyed it. The imagery was very, I want to say succulent. Okay. I am going to end the video here. If you enjoyed this reading and the poem, please leave a like, comment, or subscribe down below. Bye!